Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Guys, welcome back. You're going to love today's episode because we're talking about the power of not having to convey authenticity, but to live it and to really embrace video marketing to stand out, to scale your business, and to accelerate trust. I am super excited to introduce you to our guest today because she and I have had the opportunity to play on her podcast and really add value because together what she does and we do create better results for our clients. Give a very warm welcome to our guest today, Kirsten. I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Christine. It's going to be exciting. We always have such great conversations.
We do, and we're ready to light it up.
Yes.
I can't believe we're going to start here, but I think we need to, which is some people still think that video is optional and are missing such an important way to build trust. How does video really help us, and why should seriously it not be a should we? It should be a how do we today embrace this?
Okay, I'm going to age myself really quickly. So I remember very clearly when my now business partner had her full service marketing agency and she was designing and building websites for local businesses who were adamant that they did not need a website because the yellow page ads worked just fine. I like to relate video marketing to a website, 20 years ago. And it's really interesting. And the way I'll let you kind of do a little market research yourself on this concept is Google and YouTube are both search engines. And their ultimate goal is when you type something into that search bar to bring up the best content possible for you so that you'll stay as long as possible on that content and they'll make as much money as possible from the ad revenue. So next time you search on Google, look down and see how many videos, YouTube videos that they show. And the reason for this is we will now spend more time on a video than we will reading an article or a blog post. And since Google owns YouTube, they're going to send you to the place that you're going to spend the most time so they can make the most money. So missing out on video marketing is like thinking that the yellow pages are going to be around forever. And that's how important video marketing is.
This is such a great analogy. And this trend of video, like there's a lot of permutations, I'm going to say in style. So we've seen things from live stream to insert to clips to different ways. But what that shows is it keeps the eyeballs, it keeps the interest. And in a way like nothing else does, oral communication that stimulates all our senses really gives us distinctive storyline.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gary Vaynerchuk, one thing he said that I absolutely love, and we see it to be true over and over again, is people will often find us on our short form content. They become aware of us, from our TikTok videos. And trust me, we're not dancing on TikTok. We're just doing educational based value content. Or they might find one of our reels or stories on Facebook or Instagram. So they find something that piques their attention. They start to learn a little bit about what we do. So short form is how people find us often, but long form is what converts them. So when they have the opportunity to get a little clip about what you're doing and they think, I'm interested in that, or that sounds very fascinating to me, or how does that work? And then they go to that long form video. Those long form videos are what sell people on you. That builds the know, like, and trust, but it also helps them to understand if what you're doing can truly solve their problem. And that is based on you providing incredible value-based content and just giving and giving and giving to help that person understand really what their problem is and then all the solutions that you have that can solve it.
So audience, I hope you heard that short-term and long-term content is not an either or conversation. It's an and conversation because they serve two very different purposes. Short-term, what you said was curiosity.
Yes.
It is, yes, entertainment, and that doesn't mean dancing on TikTok is required, but it is really understanding what will spark the imagination of your buyer. And I love that you say the long-term form version of content converts, which
Mhm.
means you have to build your story to walk somebody through a decision
Mhm.
and make sure you're leading them to an action. And even though you're educating, the purpose isn't just to educate. You're saying it actually goes much more beyond that. When you are coaching your clients, what is the gap? Because a lot of people produce content, a lot of people play and spend hours on short and long form, but they don't bring clients. And you have a really strong focus in your agency and what you guys do on getting a result. What's the difference? What's the gap?
Well, first of all, I think it's really knowing who your ideal client is. That's very important.
Mhm.
Understanding your keywords. Like I said, YouTube is a search engine, and it really does surprise me how often we work with clients who have websites, but when we ask them, what are the keywords you're trying to, rank for or have people find you for, they don't know.
Mhm.
So what we try to focus on is creating content that is is going to actually deliver content to somebody who's searching something. And I think this is interesting. People don't realize you can find out exactly what your ideal client is asking in that little search bar and how they're asking it. Because Christine, you and I are two different people. And we may go to that search bar and we want the same information, but how we type it in and how we ask it could be very different. So we want to make sure that we know exactly how your clients are asking the questions in the search bar. And then we want to make sure that you're answering those questions. And if you think about it, that almost it makes that person feel like you know them when you're answering the question that they specifically are asking in the search bar. But I totally agree with you. It is about building know, like, and trust. A lot of people ask about my dog because my dog is often in my videos. Like you had talked about, you hadn't been around for a little while because you were, out with some health issues. I had the same thing happen and took a break. And then people were checking, how are you feeling? Are you doing better? So it's about sharing who we are and a little bit about our lives, but also about our passion and our desire to truly help someone with whatever problem that they have. We work with a lot of real estate agents, and that's fantastic because they can really leverage industry terms, buy a house, sell a house, condo, those types of things. But they can also really leverage local keywords so that they come up in local search volume. So that's very helpful. We work with a lot of coaches and consultants who really have a heart for helping people and serving them, but it's a competitive space. So you
Mhm.
have to figure out what is your market, who are you, and how are you going to show up? And the best way to show up is always as yourself. If you meet me on the streets, I talk with my hands, everything's exactly the same as what you see in this video if you're watching us rather than just listening to us. So just be yourself. And there is a way, I think, for everyone, no matter your personality, no matter your style, no matter your ideal client, there is a way to come up with a strategy that will work for you to attract clients, but also will work for you in the sense that it feels natural to you. Maybe
Mhm.
not right at first, but it will feel natural to you over time.
Well, and there's a lot of freedom in this idea of we don't create content for content's sake.
Mm-mm.
That idea that everybody created a business to be a content creator, like nobody is buying that. But the truth is we do have to create content if we want to be found because people are using search engines. And I love the simplicity of use the tool, create content that matches it. And my gosh, my friends, you will start to see what is working. And then you can double down and focus on that and do it in a way that, yes, while not maybe 100% comfortable, is worth it because the result shows up consistently. And you talk about the overwhelm because there's a lot of brakes pumped when it comes to, oh my God, I have to create video content. Can I do a million other things instead? You guys actually work uniquely with virtual assistants and marketing VAs to help in the background. Talk to us a little bit about the power of that and
Sure.
why it's an easy yes to stay out
Absolutely.
of the overwhelm.
Yeah. So Jeannie and I we're not a marketing agency and we're not an outsourcing agency. We really truly coach our clients on their marketing strategy. And it usually starts with a long form video. So whether that's a talking head style video or a podcast style video, and then that leads into short form content for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever that client needs to be,
Mhm.
which also moves into an email marketing strategy and a blogging strategy. So we think about a flywheel. You create one piece of content and you can end up with a lot of content from that one piece of content. The other thing that we do is we actually interview, vet, and train marketing virtual assistants. they have to go through a paid internship with us before they can graduate and go to work for a client. And how we are different is we do not mark up the virtual assistant's labor. So when they come out of my paid internship and they go to work for one of our clients, they work directly for that client. And the reason why we feel like that's really important is, we have clients going on 5 years with their virtual assistants. Once you have somebody who knows your editing style and they know your graphic design style and you have a great relationship with this person, they can create content week after week after week with very little input from you as far as changes or updates and things like that. So that's, I think, where the magic happens is you get to spend your time focusing on creating that great piece of content and then just knowing you can hand it off and everything else is done, but nothing goes out until you approve it. So that's kind of our process for helping our clients because we want people. There are a lot of podcasts out there, but there are not a lot of active podcasts out there. I want to say like 85% of the podcasts out there are no longer, people are no longer adding episodes to them because it's a lot more work than people realize.
Yeah.
And, part of creating like this podcast is marketing this podcast. It's not
100%.
great. Yeah. And so when you can have a fantastic marketing virtual assistant who can do that for you, then you just get to focus again on creating the great content, sharing your personality, helping people understand what you do and how you do it and how you can help them and building know, like, and trust. And then the virtual assistant can take care of everything else.
And I love the idea because you've used the word flywheel. And with 100% certainty, we didn't, creating content is an essential part of the job, but it isn't the job. We are using content for a vehicle to create leads, inquiry, sales opportunity, engagement, learning, and all kinds of things. But this idea that you can take one initiative and you can create one piece of content and have content that can go into a multitude of different styles because different people will engage with your business in different platforms in a different style format. But also then really realize that if you're answering questions that have longevity, this content can be repurposed. And I think we often think, I can't possibly reuse content. And I say to people, there are seasons in your business where reusing content not only makes sense, it is what you should advocate for because truthfully, you're not focusing as a primary initiative to be a content generator, but you can't go silent.
Exactly. And so most of our clients are committed to creating one video a week. What we encourage them to do is they generally don't launch their first video until their first 4 videos are fully produced. And when I say fully produced, I'm talking about fully edited, thumbnails are done, uploaded to YouTube with all the SEO done, best practices for YouTube are taken care of, all the social media content has been created and scheduled, and then the email is sitting there ready to go out. And then once they have 4 videos banked, then they know they're always a month ahead. And that makes it easy because life happens, right? And so most of our clients are at least a month ahead on their content. We were actually on a call on Tuesday and we have 2 clients. One has already got their content finished through June and the other one through July. And because they have both of them have big projects coming up. So they just kind of put their heads down, got their recordings done so that they can move on to that next big project, that next big offer that they're working on. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're creating content that's evergreen. But like you said, if you happen to be out sick or you decided, I'm just not ahead on my content and I want to take the last 2 weeks of December off, you do have great content that you can repurpose. You can find some of your best posts that did really well and you can repurpose those. I absolutely think that if you have any content that gets a lot of traction, reuse that content.
Yeah. This is where Overwhelm is a choice. And we're inviting you to think smarter about your strategy and how you can use your tools. And let's talk about the SEO and the AI element of this, because there's two camps in what I observe in the current interest level for people who want to step into video or embrace video in a bigger way. There's those that say, I really want to go old school, which is human driven, very focused on every craftsmanship element of this process. And then there's those who are just going to have something created out of AI. Talk to us a little bit about where you see that in the marketplace and where there might be a role for both to be at the table and why.
Yeah, I totally think if you're selling a product or a low ticket item, I think if you want to have AI generated content all day long, it's fine. If you're selling something higher ticket and part of what you do is build a relationship with your client, it's really hard to do that through just AI generated content. So I think there's always a strategy. I mean, there's lots of YouTube channels that do not have a person on there. Like, it's all quotes, or it's all just B-roll and images, or it is AI. And that's fine, but I think you have to figure out what's the strategy that is going to work best for you based on your offer and on your client, because there's no right way or wrong way. We all have different businesses. We all have different personalities. We all have different types of clients. Our clients resonate with us. I mean, they use us a lot because of who we are and how we communicate and how we teach. So if they're going to come on and work with us and let us help them with their strategy and trust us to train their virtual assistant for them, they need to get to know us. We do teach the virtual assistants to use AI. We're all using AI every day, whether we know it or not. Next time you go to Netflix and it offers up a show that you should watch next, just know that was AI.
AI suggested it for a reason.
Yeah, AI served it up to you for a reason. So we have AI in our everyday life that we don't even think about. So things that your virtual assistant uses AI for can be audio editing. It can help pull out social media clips, things like that. What we find, though, is the person who's edited your video, they know some really important points that are made. And so or when there's really motion attached or something really interesting, they're always going to pull that out as a clip. AI doesn't always get that. I feel like AI can sometimes miss the emotion side. The other thing that I think is really interesting is they're starting to say people that have a high emotional IQ, their subconscious mind knows what's AI and it automatically dismisses it a little bit. So again, I think whether it's written or video or social media post, it'll be interesting to see over time how it plays out, because there's so much more content going out there, which in some ways I think lends itself even more so for us showing up as ourselves on video. Because if we're constantly being served up social media posts that are AI, and the AI is interacting with all your social media posts, and you've got some bot texting you and you've got another bot calling you, it's some
100%.
Yeah, you're just like, give me a freaking person already. And the best part is you are a person. So that means you can just show up as you, and you're not going you're always going to win over AI.
And that I love that you're seeing it as an and I would agree with that. I just was chatting with our community just this week, actually, where I said, remember, because we do sell high ticket, we're in a very high touch, high human contact, engaging way that we work with our clients. I said, we are tired in some ways. We are spotting the AI, even if it's getting 100 times better than it was a year ago. And people do want that human. And I said, the best way to have trust, which is where we started our conversation, is be you.
Yeah.
Show an unedited version. And I have also really observed, yes, we can use AI to clip and to take some content out, but sometimes this is the piece that you just didn't see. And every week we have our blind spots, but having the human advocate, spot, and pull together just raises the game. And at the end of the day, guys, we want you to be seen as the must hire. We want your phone to ring. And we want you to have to use the tools to help people move. And that's the simplest thing that marketing is all about. The right leads moving towards your offer, and the wrong lead saying, I'm in the wrong space. It's time to exit. So one thing I always ask everybody, because I'm fascinated by the diversity of it, which is just like we see humans do business with humans. What's working for you right now to amplify your business and help you guys find clients?
So it's really fun. Right now, I'm in the middle of doing some market research. And what that means for us is I interview between 50 and 100 people, because we have a virtual assistant in the Philippines who takes care of our bookkeeping. And I actually, in my one-on-one coaching practice, I actually help clients hire virtual assistants. So whether they're a law firm or a CPA firm or a bookkeeping firm. So I've hired accountants and bookkeepers for larger firms for a while now. And so I started thinking about, what about those smaller businesses where it's expensive to spend $65, $75 an hour to have a bookkeeper? Would it make sense for them to outsource their bookkeeping? So I've been in the process of doing the market research about a program that would help people understand, their financials better. And I guess my ultimate goal is, you can't manifest more money if you're afraid of your money. And, it doesn't matter how much you work on your mindset or how much you try to manifest it. If you are neglecting your money and you're kind of afraid of it, you're not going to manifest more. And so I'm thinking about a program that would talk about that. It would And at the end, I want people to kind of fall in love with their money, but I also want them to feel like an empowered CFO. And by pairing them with a virtual assistant in the Philippines who could take care of their bookkeeping, but could also help them learn how to read their profit and loss statement or their balance sheet, or could say, hey, your spending in this area was a lot higher this month. What happened? Or if you needed to say, hey, I need to cut some costs in my business, let's talk about that. So really having your bookkeeper as your financial sounding board to help you better understand your numbers. And it feels so awesome. Trust me, it feels so awesome that by the end of January, you've already sent your stuff to your accountant and your taxes are done before the deadline. So I want to help people remove all that anxiety and angst that we're feeling right now because it is tax time.
Yep.
So that's what we're working on right now. And I'm really excited about it. I'm
Well,
getting
I love this idea. And what I loved is where you started, which is I am having conversations with market research. So guys, this is so often missed. I just got to have a moment before I invite people to come find you, because this is it, guys. Old school, talk to somebody, really distill what's happening in the marketplace is where you'll create revenue opportunities. Don't guess, don't assume, don't look through the world of your lens, because what matters is not you, what you're selling. What matters is what somebody's buying and what the marketplace needs. Go where the money is, and that's done through conversation. So I give you huge props because I think you guys are such a class group. That's why I said come play on our platform. But how do people find you? Because they might be very interested in working with you with videos, helping them multi-purpose their content. And you guys are a great organization to do that with.
Thank you, Christine. I have a gift for your audience. It's called Double Your Income with a Marketing VA, and they can get that at outsourcingforbosses.com, outsourcingforbosses.com. And you can always find me at sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com, and that's SIX, figurebusinesscoaching.com.
Guys, please do connect with Kirsten. She is an amazing individual. I love what she's all about. Video is not optional, and I want you to do it well. So go connect to her and her organization, Six Figure Coaching, Business Coaching, and we will make sure we got that free gift for you down in the show notes. Thank you for being our guest today. We absolutely love what you're about.
Thank you.
It is time to amplify your marketing message. Get out there and find your next client. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.